Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to today's Eagles news and rumor video. Let's go and jump in to everything that's happening here on a Tuesday as we begin with a very interesting article by the National Spin talking about how Nick Sirianni could already be in way over his head as the first-year rookie head coach in Philadelphia. Now, it's a very interesting article. I'm going to read you part of it here in just 1 second, but essentially the article is citing the idea that Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie are so demanding and so commanding inside the Eagles front office that Sirianni could get swallowed up, much like Doug Pederson did during the final couple of years during his tenure in Philadelphia. So the question really remains, can Nick Sirianni survive his first year in Philadelphia, or will the machine that is Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie, as we talked about here on the channel, eat him up, as the article goes ahead and mentions? So let's go ahead and throw you up this quote here from the National Spin article I find very interesting. Quote, I know Doug Pederson really well. I covered him when he was a quarterback with the Dolphins. He doesn't have the persona to go into Howie or Jeff and say, hey, you guys got to back off, okay? You guys got to let me run my part of the organization. You can do whatever it is you're going to do, and I'll win, okay? He never did that, and they didn't trust him, and they ran over the top of him. That's their nature. My concern is that Lurie and Roseman are going to take control of the situation. They haven't found the authority figure like an Andy Reid, a coach they could trust to say, go run the football operations. Sirianni seems to me like a guy who's going to get run over by the owner and the GM, end quote. Now, again, is this saying that we know for a fact that Sirianni is getting run over by Jeffrey Lurie and, of course, Howie Roseman? No, it's just an idea or an opinion on what could potentially happen in Philadelphia. Before I give you my thoughts, give you a quick question here. Is Nick Sirianni in over his head? Do you think Philadelphia is a tough place to go ahead and coach? And is Sirianni maybe bit off a little bit more than he can chew as a young offensive coordinator now turned head coach of the National Football League? You think yes, type Y down below. You think no, then go ahead and type N down below. Now, I agree with this article and I disagree with this article because on one side, yes, I think Lurie and Roseman are both very much demanding GMs and owners, but on the other side of things, I think Howie Roseman has learned his lesson. That's my question right now. Has Howie Roseman learned his lesson? And that lesson being that if you are too controlling, as of course we saw with Doug Pederson, then you're going to ruin the franchise and set them back a couple of years with the whole Carson Wentz situation and of course the whole Doug Pederson situation as well. My hope is this offseason and really the last season taught Howie Roseman that there need to be boundaries, right? Howie needs to do front office personnel stuff, and then the coach needs to do head coaching things. That you think it would happen that way, but obviously it's not the case so far, as it's been over the past couple of years in Philadelphia. I think we can also say that Howie is GMing for his job this year. If Philadelphia has a terrible season and wins 4 or 5 games and is bottom place in the NFC East and they miss out on the postseason again, then Howie Roseman might get fired. And we talked about that a lot over the past couple of years, but this is the first season where it's like, Howie's really got to produce. And by produce, I mean the Eagles have got to win on the football field. Now, a lot of that relies on Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, but again, Roseman is, of course, the glue and really the main guy in the organization building this football team. And I think that Howie understands that the Eagles were to struggle this year, then his job could potentially be on the line. He's been there in Philadelphia for, almost my entire life. He's been there basically forever. So I think that he's learned the lesson. I hope that he has learned the lesson and the mistakes made from Carson Wentz and, of course, Doug Pederson, because, as we know, if he can be a little more hands-off from an on-the-field perspective, let Sirianni be Sirianni, then we can really find out just how good Nick Sirianni is going to end up being, which I think, as I've said before, pretty darn good, because I feel very confident in his offensive-minded skills. And apparently during OTAs, all the word out of Philadelphia is that the players love him and that he is a big-time hire right now in Philadelphia. And if the players like him, and if he can really implement the offense that you saw in Indianapolis, of course, coming to Philadelphia with Hurts and gets them all to progress, along with Smith and Rager and the rest of the group, this can be a very exciting and very fun football team overall. I'll ask you guys this. Comment down below, over under 7 wins for Philadelphia in 2021. So we asked the question, your confidence level in Nick Sirianni, right? If you think over 7 wins, type O down below for over. If you think under, then type U down below for under. I'm going to go over on the 7 wins just because, again, I think Philadelphia's roster is more talented than people think, and I do believe in Nick Sirianni. All right, before we go ahead and keep going, we are so close to 20,000 subs. Really, we're at 19,241. So help us get to 19,500 subscribers and then on to 2,000 subs. Training camp a couple of weeks away. Well, ton of videos regarding training camp, of course, from now all the way up through and to training camp. So go ahead and subscribe and help us out down below. All right, just go and jump into some more Eagles news and rumors. I thought a very interesting list that Maurice Jones-Drew from the NFL Network, the former Jaguar running back, put out that really, threw some shade and some hate on Miles Sanders, the Eagles' #1 running back currently on their roster. So MJD, every single offseason, ranks all the running backs in the National Football League. We're at that time in the NFL offseason where not a lot of news is happening, and so you get a lot of, rankings and a lot of profiles and articles like that, understandably, to drive some news. But MJD's rankings were bizarre. He has Miles Sanders as the 27th best running back in the National Football League. So not even top 25, 27th best running back in the National Football League. Now his reason for this, he said inconsistency. in terms of or consistency, really being his critique of Miles Sanders, because he's been inconsistent on the football field in terms of actually being healthy. But again, the players, which I'll show you in just a couple of minutes, that he ranked around Miles Sanders are very bizarre. So first, I'll see MJG's thoughts on Miles Sanders. Throw that up on your screen right now. Quote, Sanders has shown flashes of being a really good player in both the run and pass game over his first 2 seasons. He was more productive as a runner in 2020, averaging 5.3 yards per carry, but wasn't the pass-catching threat he was in his rookie season. Sanders might show up and have a Saquon Barkley-esque impact on the offense to help alleviate pressure from second-year quarterback Jalen Hurts. I'm looking for more consistency here, end quote. Now, it's not necessarily a total dumping on Miles Sanders, but I think it's a little bit just kind of weird that he put him at 27th overall. It's like he can be really good running the football, but didn't catch the ball very well, wasn't consistent enough, so he's 27th in the NFL. Now, again, is this wrong in terms of the listing? I'm not going to say that, but I will say this. As you look at Nick Sirianni, or excuse me, as you look at Miles Sanders and the other running backs on the list, the 27th ranking is kind of a little bit problematic. Look at the other running backs that were ahead of him. Mike Davis of the Atlanta Falcons, who's been a number 2 back his entire year except for last year when he was number 1 in for injured Chris McCaffrey, 23rd. Chris Carson was 19th. Raheem Mostert, talk about inconsistent. Raheem Mostert's been injured a lot for the 49ers. He was 25th. Chase Edmonds of the Cardinals, and a lot of people don't know who that guy is, was 26th. And then Tevin Coleman was one behind him, 28th. And Coleman has been a number 2, number 3 running back his entire career. So just a weird overall listing. It's not like Sanders has been bad. He's been really good when healthy. Now, again, I think that MJD should have put him higher, but still cited the fact he's been inconsistent in terms of being available on the football field. Injuries have been the real downfall so far the first 2 years for Miles Sanders. He hasn't been able to play every single game, and if he can have a healthy season, the production is going to be there because, as of course we saw last season, I mean, the guy can get a lot of yards per carry. 5.3 yards per carry is a big number in the NFL. He was top 5 in the league in that number. Now, the way that you could have Sanders' numbers go down, or at least stay down as they were this past year, besides injuries, the fact that the running backs on the roster right now. You guys know I'm a big Kerryon Johnson fan. A lot of you guys like Kenny Gainwell. There are plenty of options at running back behind Sanders, but I still think that's going to benefit him in the long run because it's going to give him spells early on in the season, which hopefully will give him enough rest to be healthy and rested through the part of the latter half of the NFL season. So I feel confident in Miles Sanders. I don't think Miles Sanders cares about where he's ranked by Maurice Jones-Drew. And the last time Maurice Jones-Drew was relevant in the NFL was years ago. I was like a kid growing up watching him and David Garrard on those Jaguar teams years ago, but I digress. It was just a surprise when you go, wait, he ranked him where? 27th, and he put Mike Davis and Chris Carson, Raheem Mostert, and Chase Edmonds ahead of him, and Tevin Coleman one behind him? A little bizarre, a little crazy there, but that's how this, I mean, listen, we're at that, again, at that point in the NFL offseason where there's not a lot of news going on because teams are just waiting to start training camp. When we get to training camp in a couple of weeks, we'll be ready to rock, and there'll be a ton of stuff going on, but right now, people are making lists, and we react to lists. That's how it works here right now during the early parts of July. Now, if you guys agree that Sanders is going to be good this year, drop a like. I think he's going to have a 1,000-yard season. If you think he's going to be a 1,000-yard running back this year, give this video a thumbs up right now. I think most of you guys will agree that he will. He was close last year, but again, the injuries were an issue. Give the video a thumbs up if you guys agree with me that Sanders will have a 1,000-yard rushing season here in 2021. All right, let's go jump into our final story here today on our Philadelphia Eagles news and rumor channel. And yes, it's another Zach Ertz update. That's why I put the little sigh above me, because another sigh Ertz update. And the update is that there are rumors and there are people talking that a trade could be coming soon. Now, stop if you heard that before. Like, you're probably tired of me coming on here and talking about Zach Ertz. I'm tired of it, but we get these new reports, and this one comes via Maurice. We all love Maurice. We have to bring it up, even though, again, as of today, there's been no real movement in the Zach Ertz drama that's plagued Philadelphia all offseason. So, the rumor via Maurice is the Bills, a team we've talked about a lot here on the channel, are close to trading for Zach Ertz, and the Eagles play-by-play voice and legend in Philadelphia, Maurice, thinks it could happen very, very soon, which would be nice because we need to put all this Zach Ertz stuff to bed because I'm tired of talking about it. Like, I'm done. Like, he's obviously leaving, whether they're going to cut him or trade him. Just get on with it. That way we can move on and stop talking about it, right? Here was Maurice when asked about Zach Ertz a couple of days ago. Throw that up on the screen right now. Quote, the word today is that they are very close to a deal, and I don't have any inside information as to substantiate this, but the word is they are close to a deal with Buffalo for Zach Ertz. I believe you have as much of a chance of being on this roster as Zach Ertz in a few weeks, end quote. Now, again, Maurice saying he didn't have any inside information, but I'm sure he has better inside information than you or I. I mean, he's Maurice, right? Talking about one of the big guys there in the Eagles organization as a play-by-play voice. And this seems like the likely team. Like, Buffalo would make the most sense. They're the team that needs a tight end. They're a team that's this close to being a Super Bowl contender in the AFC. You had Zach Ertz, a Super Bowl champion in the past. to the Josh Allen offense. That could go a long way in terms of success and being a good trade overall. I still think that teams are just waiting for the Eagles to cut Zach Ertz. I think Philadelphia's waiting for the right offer. I mean, but at this point, as I've talked about, just give him up for anything, right? If the team gives you a fifth-round draft pick for Zach Ertz, it's better than nothing because you get nothing by cutting him, right? So I would take whatever offer's on the table, especially if it's to an AFC team. Like, I would trade him to the Colts right now. I mean, sure, help Carson Wentz out, and he goes to the AFC. I trade him to Buffalo. Help Josh Allen out, he goes to the AFC. You get him out of the division, get him out of the conference, and that helps out Philadelphia in the long run in terms of not having to worry about if Zach Ertz has a breakout season here during his latter years in the National Football League. But again, Merle thinks it'll happen soon, and if it does, of course, make sure you guys are subscribed because we'll cover it here on the channel. If he gets traded at any point or cut, we'll have a video up and make sure you guys are up to date. That's the beauty of this channel is we try to get you guys the latest and greatest Eagle news as it happens as quickly as we can. Hit the upload button here on YouTube. All right, ultimately for today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I hope you guys had a great 4th of July weekend. I got a little sun, I was on vacation, I got a little tan here. Hope you guys like that. Hope you had a very similar and safe and fun 4th of July weekend as we get closer and closer to training camp and plenty more coverage here upcoming in the days and weeks on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Ultimately for today here on the channel, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off the rest of your day.